Welcome to the premiere episode of GNV Next, a half-hour look at the City of Gainesville's citizen-centered initiatives, programs, events, and people. I'm your host, Bob Woods. This is an exciting time for Gainesville, a city that is leading a movement and reinventing what the new American city looks like. We'll chat with Gainesville Mayor Lauren Poe and District 1 Commissioner Charles Gostin on a broad range of city issues. We'll take a look at a day in the life of a city employee. We'll visit one of the city's many, many beautiful parks and much, much more. But first, let's take a look at how the city prepares to keep you safe this hurricane season.
Here we are at the beginning of the 2017 hurricane season. The city of Gainesville has spent the last 5 to 6 months preparing to make sure that all of our city services and employees are ready and prepared to respond in case of a natural or a man-made disaster. In the early spring of 2017, the City of Gainesville conducted its annual disaster drill. In this drill, we stand up our emergency operations center just like we would have it in the event of a hurricane or tornado or anything like that to exercise our plan. We bring in different teams to man our emergency operations center. This particular drill was designed in response of a hurricane and some of the other dangers that lie within a hurricane, more specifically to a tornado. In response to this drill, we conduct a hot wash or an after-action review. In that, we'll identify any areas that we need to fine-tune, and we'll develop a plan so that we can address those in a timely fashion so that by the time we're called to action, those pieces are second nature to us and it makes us better as an organization, and which ultimately keeps our community safer and better prepared. We here at the City of Gainesville Emergency Management encourage you to visit our local websites like www.safegnv.org is one that has a lot of tools on it to help you prepare. You got lists for things that you need to have in your preparedness toolkit. It also talks and refers you to other sites like Alachua County's emergency management site and the state of Florida and FEMA's websites. All these sites have useful and beneficial information for you and your family. We have a very solid emergency operations plan, and in the event it's needed, we will enact it and keep our community safe.
And joining us today is Mayor Lauren Poe, the mayor for the City of Gainesville. And Mr. Mayor, as you just saw, we are prepared for storm season this year.
We absolutely are, and in fact, we are bringing on a new emergency manager through GFR, through our fire department, to be a full-time, year-round person in charge of all emergency management. Our citizens are in very good hands when it comes to Gainesville's preparations for any sort of emergency event. But we also want to always remind people that they are the ones most in control of their safety, and really pay attention to those safety instructions and always be prepared, and we'll make sure that every person makes it through these emergency events. But on that note, Bob, we have some longer-term challenges and goals. We know climate change is real and it's upon us, and we as a community have to be prepared for that. So I was very grateful that the City Commission on June 15th gave me authorization to join more than 300 other mayors around the country and in fact around the world who are directly taking on the challenges of climate change. The good news is we're very prepared for that and quite a ways along. We got some high-level numbers from our General Manager, Ed Bolarski at GRU, indicating that we have already achieved the 2005 levels that are laid out by the Paris Accords. We have seen hundreds of thousands of tons of CO2 kept out of the atmosphere from our traffic management system, our RTS ridership numbers, and so we're doing very good as a city. What we'll see over the next couple months here is a quantification of that data, really knowing where we are and what things we might need to do to make sure we achieve those goals, along with these other 300 cities that have committed to taking on climate change.
Now, you mentioned the U.S. Conference of Mayors that you recently attended, and at that conference, I understood that they also took some action regarding the immigration here in the United States. And I know that Gainesville is a welcoming city, and I wonder if you could talk a little bit about that, Mr. Mayor.
Well, Gainesville is an international city, and largely that's because of the University of Florida and Santa Fe College. We bring in families and students from all around the world. By becoming a welcoming city, which is part of Welcoming America, a national coalition of cities, what we're doing is we're saying that we are going to work together as government institutions, educational institutions, private businesses, nonprofits, to make sure that every person, no matter how long they've been here or where they've come from, they are welcome. They're a part of our community, and we want them to fully integrate into who we are as a Gainesville, because we know that just makes us richer as a community. And so we're very proud of that work. There's a lot more still to be done, but I think that the benefits of that are already quite clear to see.
Well, you know, we were talking about safety of our citizens, and I know that the Gainesville Police Department has really been a national leader in terms of community-oriented policing and some of the community programs that they've initiated. Could you talk a little bit more about that?
Well, I hope that people in Gainesville know how lucky we are to have such an exceptional police chief in Tony Jones. He is on the cutting edge of community-oriented policing. He is a nationally sought-after participant in any dialogue that concerns youth programs and crime prevention programs. Really what we mean by community-oriented policing is that our police officers are going to be out in the community. They're going to get to know personally the people who they are serving, and it's much more that police as a resource officer, that police as a custodian of the public good model that we want to emulate here in Gainesville. And we look to continue that. The commission has started a discussion on really ultimately how can we arrest fewer people. We know once somebody enters that system, it's very difficult for them to get out. It really has deleterious consequences for the rest of their life. Hurts their prospects of getting a job, fair housing, all of those different things. And so at the very beginning, especially when we're talking about juveniles, if we can prevent that arrest and instead get them into treatment and diversion and restorative justice type programs where not only do they not have that stain on their record, but they become better citizens and they become those residents that give back and add to the fabric of our community, that just makes us better off as a city.
You know, I think that's a very insightful in terms of what the city is doing. It's a very innovative program. We also have another innovation that's occurring. That, of course, is the new UF and city partnership that was signed as an agreement back at the State of the City address. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
There's a lot of layers to this. I'd say at the very highest level, what the university and the city have pledged to do is work together, plan together, negotiate together on any projects that we feel have impact one another. So we're not going to operate in a vacuum or in a silo any longer. But beyond that, we are engaged in some real cooperative activities. The university pledged over $300,000 in grants for professors at the university to apply local solutions to local challenges. And we're just on the front end of that. And so we are continuing to have discussions with all the folks at UF, but especially the top level administration on how we can better partner. Because at the end of the day, UF's preeminence and success depends on a world-class city, and Gainesville's preeminence and success depends on a world-class university. And it's such a symbiotic relationship. We're committed to doing everything we can to foster that and help it grow into everything we think it can be.
Mr. Mayor, we want to thank you so much for appearing on GNV Next.
Thank you.
We had gone out and we had just finished doing one of our tech training exercises, and literally like 15 minutes later, the call came out for us that there was a high-angle rescue over at Shands.
A worker had been struck by a beam while working on some scaffolding and had some facial trauma, and had suffered a pretty significant fall.
So we were concerned with some cervical issues and whatnot, so we had to, our Lieutenant Belger, made the call to do we wanted to lower him down in the Stokes basket. It's a technical rescue basket that we can lift patients with and lower them down to the ground safely.
We came up, myself and my firefighter went up, we evaluated the situation, figured out what we wanted to do, and then Rutledge Rogers and Josh Rogers came up and brought the equipment that we needed. I was the first one in the harness, so I became the rescuer. There were about 10 guys on scene that were rigging everything up and getting it all set up, and I was able just to do my safety checks, and they hooked me up, and I rode down with the patient. The training that we do makes that rescue as normal as possible. So it's an abnormal situation, but we train for those abnormal situations to make them more second nature and more normal. So I work with some of the smartest, best dudes that I've ever met in this profession and occupation. So I've learned a lot, and they've made it their job is to make me proficient at what I do. And so I'm 100% comfortable. It was just kind of second nature.
Having a high level of training makes them able to make the decisions to do the right thing. And then with that high level of training comes confidence in your ability. And so that you can apply that training that you've had in different situations. We go to a lot of difficult calls throughout the year, and then you're faced with something that is 100 feet off the ground. We have to put our skills and technical rescue skills into use. And we had a tremendous crew that was able to put together that scenario or that scene and lower a patient to the ground safely. They made the decision at the time to lower them with a firefighter. We put them in a Stokes basket and we anchor off on a high point, and they lower them down to the ground. And they did a fantastic job pulling that scene together, a very dynamic situation, and they were able to do it very quickly, efficiently, and obviously effectively. They were able to get the patient down to the ground and off to the hospital safely.
Still to come, a conversation with District 1 Commissioner Charles Gostin about the new Cornerstone Community Initiative and other exciting changes coming to East Gainesville.
Are you ready for some music? Get ready to rock, roll, and groove every Friday night, all summer and fall at the renovated Bo Diddley Plaza in historic downtown Gainesville. Catch the best local music under the stars. Bring your lawn chairs, blankets, and kids to the Free Fridays concert series. The fun starts at 8 Friday nights, and again, it's free. For a full schedule, visit BoDiddleyPlaza.com.
Stop. Come on, move it already. Well, I can't move. Wait. Hey, where'd you learn how to drive? Oh, shut up. Guys, stop.
Evergreen Cemetery Association of Gainesville, in partnership with Visit Gainesville, provides a unique cultural experience for the community at historic Evergreen Cemetery. Established in 1856, this 53-acre landmark is the final resting place for many of this region's historic figures and families. Visitors can wander amidst towering oaks and lush foliage and listen to a 38-stop interpretive cell phone tour of this heritage destination. Learn more at thiswondrousplace.org.
1, 2, 3.
This groundbreaking represents the future of District 1. I have always believed, beyond a shadow of a doubt, that the East Side was a vibrant, very essential place for economic development. Some say we don't have the economics for it, and I say that's not true. This project will prove beyond a shadow of a doubt that the hidden jewel in Gainesville has been East Gainesville. The enhancement of life is a right to everybody, and not just one side of town. And I want to be able to walk out and be able to enjoy the things that everybody who lives on the west side enjoys as I speak. We're going to make some things happen that are going to enhance the quality of life on the east side. And I'm just happy that God blessed me to be a part of it. Thank you very much.
And joining us today is Commissioner Charles Gostin, the District 1 Commissioner for the City of Gainesville, here to talk to us today about additional developments out of the Cornerstone Project and other items of interest in his district. Glad to see you today, sir.
Thank you very much, Mr. Woods. I want to say that the appropriate name, Cornerstone, is really what that development is going to be. It's going to be the beginning of a cornerstone of other developments in that area that's going to create jobs. It's going to create opportunities for those who never thought they would get them. And my objective as a candidate when I ran was to really focus on economic development for District 1, because once we flip the economics, you'll see the crime that people profess is so bad that's not continue to decrease. And at the same time, you're going to see people take pride in coming to work, pride in doing their jobs. And that's going to be what I've always wanted, to open the door to other businesses that will have a realistic, tangible opportunity to see that economic development works in District 1.
Well, yeah, I wanted to focus in a little bit on this particular project. Now, as I understand it, back in March of this year, the City Commission approved an appropriation of $1.8 million to the CRA for infrastructure improvements out there.
Yes.
And that is to basically prepare 10 different sites for development on the 13.6 acres that are out there. And as I understand it, I believe we have a company identified, Mario.
Mario, yes.
And they're a food testing company?
Yes, and they're going to employ several hundred, new employees and some people they'll bring in with them. And there's going to be numerous, I think, opportunities, Mr. Woods, for people who have worked in this industry with the University of Florida and other places to really take advantage of this, okay? I am so happy that Mario has decided to accept those people with a GED and a PhD.
Well, that's wonderful. That'll really stimulate, I think, the employment in that area. And just down the block from the Cornerstone Project, as I understand it, is the Heartwood development. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yes, indeed. Heartwood is where I've really made a lot of efforts and pushed a lot of buttons and pushed a lot of people, okay? Basically because Heartwood is going to be a beautiful housing development, and it's going to give 34 people, families, an opportunity to walk into a brand new home. It's going to give them an opportunity to be a part of the new progressive part of Southeast Gainesville. And what I'm trying to get the CRA to understand, that what we're going to have to do to make those homes that will be built affordable is to make sure that we don't tap on top of the cost of the home another $40,000. If you put that on top of a home, Mr. Woods, you're going to do what most people do. You exclude more people than you include.
Well, I've seen the development plans for the Heartwood project, and it is absolutely stunning.
Beautiful.
Bicycle paths and 4 different home styles. And
yes.
So we certainly would hope that neighbors and residents in that area currently would have the opportunity to purchase a home in that area.
Well, if it's not done right, Mr. Woods, that won't happen. See, now everything is on the drawing board. We've got the architectural designs for the homes. But if you don't do everything right, if you don't have a way to qualify the people, to make sure that their credit works through with the bank, if you don't make sure that the amount of the home on a 30-year fixed mortgage is not going to be where they can financially be able to pay for it, then there's going to be more people being eliminated for the home than those who would be granted to get one.
Well, I'm sure that with your oversight on this particular project, that it will be such that everyone will be able to enjoy the benefits of Heartwood. I do know that you're a lifelong resident of the city of Gainesville, and you're deeply concerned about our development, and I'm very, very, very impressed with your leadership in that area. And you can already see some changes. In fact, if you look at the changes that are coming to the Martin Luther King Jr. Center to change that center into a hurricane shelter,
yes,
that's been a part of your effort to improve that facility for the residents in the community.
Yes, Mr. Woods, that's another thing that really is something I am so happy and proud of. So we received the $200,000. I want to thank the state for doing that. And I want to say that that was one negotiation that I was determined to make it happen.
Well, Commissioner Gostin, in conclusion, the renovations, the money that we received, the $200,000, will go to fortify windows and doorways,
yes,
and also harden the generator that's going to be placed out there as well.
Yes.
So, and that all of that work is expected to be completed by fall of 2017, as I understand.
Yes,
is that
indeed,
correct?
yeah.
So it'll be ready for next year.
It'll be ready for next year. And one thing we must understand, we live in the state of Florida that even though hurricane season may come and go, it never does go. We always have catastrophic weather. We always have situations that are totally unexpected. I have zero trust in the weatherman, and he has proven that he's wrong more than he's right. So that shelter may be used even though it's not hurricane season.
Well, Commissioner Gostin, I want to thank you so much for appearing on the show today. We really do appreciate your sharing with us the latest updates in your district.
Thank you very much, Mr. Woods.
We'll be back right after this. After the break, we'll take a look at one of the city's most beautiful nature parks in a segment we call Hidden Gems.
Riding the RTS bus with Mom was great. The friendly greeting from the driver, beautiful memories of holding Mom's hand. I loved the bracelet she made, the excitement of watching the world go by. Who would have thought that I would continue that tradition through college, getting to class hassle-free? And now that friendly driver and I are a bit older, as I get to my job stress-free, I'm reminded of my mom's hand on mine. Still wearing that bracelet, still riding the bus. Growing up RTS.
Knowing how to go through roundabouts safely will keep you, your car, or your bicycle in one piece. When you come to a roundabout, yield to traffic already in the roundabout and enter when you can merge safely. Slow down. 25 miles per hour is the limit for most roundabouts. Never pass a vehicle or stop in a roundabout, and exit the roundabout to let emergency vehicles pass. Keep an eye out for bicyclists in the roundabout, as well as bikers and pedestrians crossing at the designated crosswalks.
For more information, visit FloridaRoundaboutSafety.com.
Go to go-rts.com and use the RTS Trip Planner, powered by Google, to plan your next bus trip around Gainesville. Just enter your starting point, your end destination, date of travel, then choose either arrival or departure time. Picking the date and time of your trip is very important, as our schedules change each semester and routes start and end at different times. The Trip Planner will then give you step-by-step directions, and you can see the route on a map. Transfers and travel times are available for each segment of the trip. You can even compare the cost of using the bus versus driving a car. It's just as easy to plan your return trip. Printable maps and text directions are also available for your entire ride. Remember, no matter where your path leads, RTS and Google will take you there.
hope you've enjoyed this look at the many exciting projects going on in Gainesville as we transform into a new American city. We leave you now with the sounds of Stereo Voodoo, one of the many bands you can watch for free every Friday night now through October at the downtown Bo Diddley Plaza. Join us again to see what's going on in GNV Next.
All together now. Wake up in the morning, I can't sleep when the day is done. And the man who pays me $1 says, son, give me your blood. And you know you got the voodoo, baby, only you do so well. 'Cause when you think the problem's done, then here comes another one. I'll show you right, baby. Here comes another one. I'll show you right, baby. Here comes another one. I'll show you right, baby. Here comes another one. I'll show you right, baby. Woo! Bling up in the morning, and it falls straight from the sky, leaving every nation on earth wondering why did they die. And you know you got the voodoo, baby, oh you do so well. 'Cause when you think the problem's done, then here comes another one. I'll show you right, baby. Here comes another one. I'll show you right, baby. Oh, child. Here comes another one. I'll show you right, baby. Here comes another one. I'll show you right, baby. Woo! Keep on riding, baby. Keep on trying, baby.